Know Your Candidate. Presented by Portland is Possible, broadcasted by XRAY FM. In this segment, we offer a brief background on the visionary candidates that are proudly standing and running for the acclaimed Portland Area City Council. For now, we have a candidate of District 2 that incorporates St. John's, Kenton, Hayden Island, Mississippi, and Alberta neighborhoods.
Hi, my name is Dan Ryan. I'm currently a city commissioner, and I'm running for a seat on the new city council in District 2, which is my hometown within the city.
How should the city of Portland plan for future revenue needs?
The city of Portland needs to focus on keeping our tax base. I'm really concerned about the population loss we've experienced over the last 3 years and also the declines in enrollment at our public schools. This is a city that's about families. It's about raising families. It's about multi-generational families that have called Portland our home. So our number one focus should be keeping people in Portland. When you lose your tax base, you lose your revenue, and it's pretty hard on the budget. So I'm really focused on those assets that make Portlanders want to stay here, that brings joy to their experience of being a Portlander. That's why I focus so much on parks and arts as a city commissioner.
How do we ensure funding for culture and the arts?
When we make arts a priority and we don't marginalize it, when we know the truth that arts is the number one activator of the economy, especially in downtown, and we realize that downtown is like a turnstile of revenue, and that revenue goes out to the rest of the city, goes out to District 1 in East Portland, goes out to the far reaches of District 2. So it's so important that we continue to have a vibrant arts scene in Portland, because that's what activates our streets, that's what activates our evening and our weekend economy. And so I will always be focused on arts as a priority in our city budget. And it's a partnership with the private sector as well.
What hazards do you foresee in the city's future that we can start planning for now?
I think there's two. There's an immediate one, and that's the drug crisis in our city. We have a behavioral health and mental health crisis in our city that we must be honest about. When you tell the truth about it, then it's compassionate. And when you continue to offer services to help people get into treatment, that's a solution. So I always have to start there. The big one, which is kind of what I'm looking at next, which is preparing for a natural disaster. I know that the Portland's emergency division has really beefed up over the last few years. I know as Parks Commissioner, when I had that assignment, parks are definitely a part of where we would go to survive a natural disaster. And I think it's also important that we, just like we learned during COVID, it's block by block. And so having solutions on neighbors taking care of neighbors, and that's how we will respond best to that natural disaster. So we must be prepared both for the immediate crisis and the one that's looming that could hit at any time.
100 years ago, Portland leaders established the Bull Run Reservoir to safekeep clean drinking water for future generations. What is one thing Portland should be doing now for future generations?
We're on it, and that is to make sure that we take care of Bull Run. Those city leaders 100 years ago were brilliant. It's the most important asset we have in the city of Portland, which is to have fresh natural water nearby. It's something that most geographies around the world are going to be envious of. So we got to do everything we can to preserve it and keep it. I have to also add that it's a real opportunity for building some economic prosperity for many families. So it's the biggest public works project that we'll have in the city of Portland's history, and we'll have lots of opportunities for in the trades for people to go from an apprenticeship, even a pre-apprenticeship, all the way to journey person, even into a leadership role. And that's so good for our children and youth that are getting into the trades. So I see it both as an opportunity to preserve the precious commodity of water, and also to build some prosperity and build some generational wealth for BIPOC communities that are involved in the trades.
This region is one of the 10 most habitable, and therefore we should expect population growth. What is our responsibility to accommodate people who want to call Portland home?
To be welcoming. It's always been a city that I think welcomes those that sometimes don't feel welcomed elsewhere. As a 62-year-old queer who's had HIV for 40 years, I can say that's true. And I see that all the time with the trans folks who have moved to Portland so that they can feel safe. So it's always about being welcoming. Portland is that type of city. What we also need to do is, again, take care of our public safety. When people don't feel safe to ride Max, that's not good. And so it's really important that we continue to connect the dots and those primary concerns about public safety, and then building joy in our streets with arts and parks, And then that will keep families in Portland, and it will continue to be prosperous. I hope we also teach each other how to grow our own food. So the more that we can resource our food sources locally, the better. As I just can explain, this morning I had a smoothie from my berry garden. So I walk that talk daily in the summer.
Lightning round. If you had $5 million, what is one thing you would buy for Portland?
A sports ball field for kids and pickleball courts for everyone.
What place in town that more people should know about?
I ate at Cafe Mingo on Friday night, and then Sunday there was a fire. I was complaining to my spouse that not enough people give Cafe Mingo attention. Let's get it back.
What's the last show or performance you saw?
My spouse is in a band called Drama Informed, and it was at a festival, a music festival. And so there I was at midnight watching my spouse in a band called Drama Informed. It was great. What
restaurant or food cart is totally underrated?
Oh, God, I don't know the name, so that doesn't help. But it's right down the street. It opened up a few months ago and it has the best burritos I've ever had. I'd love to get back to you on the name of the place. But it's on Interstate and Rosa Parks.
Should Portland offer a universal basic income for artists?
Artists are entrepreneurs, they're fighters, they're scrappy. And so those that reach thresholds of activity and productivity, absolutely. But it has to be under the guise of what those expectations are. And it'd be an excellent idea in terms of building workforce.
So now you know your candidate, or a bit about them. We like to thank the visionary candidates, also like to especially thank all the volunteers and organizations that put this together. We couldn't do this without you. To look at each candidate, be a good Portland citizen, and to be a dashing and informed voter, listen to XRAY FM to learn about ballots and the new ranked choice voting system. And check out portlandpossible.org.